What the deal, family? You already know what it is, who it is, you know what I mean? It's Guess Who, the rapper, aka the Grand Ambassador, Flesh Dynasty, here to lace your brain with some incredible and glorious game, man. You know, acting in as your host in the capacity of the reluctant YouTuber. Now, let's talk sports. My New York Knicks let me down again. Now, I know y'all all heard the slogan of Knicks in Six. Knicks in Six. And listen, to be honest with you, you know, I never said that. I never subscribed to that, nor hit the like button to that, nor sent out any notifications for that. No. Let me tell you why. Because I know my Knicks. Quick backstory. Listen, man, I consider myself born with a Knick jersey. Sam Cooke was born by the river in a little tent. Me, I was born with a Knick jersey. And number 7 is what I represent. So, number 7. Because my mother, you know, she used to date, you know, the championship, one of the Knicks that won the championship. I think it was Willis Reed, right? So, needless to say, I was born a Knicks fan, right? And I always felt like if you're from New York, you should only go for New York teams. But the extra, you know, what made it extra, put that extra sauce on it, was the fact that my mother used to actually date one of them. And from the championship era, you know what I mean, in 73. So, yeah, that made it even worse. So, I felt like everybody from New York should be a fan of the Knicks. You know what I mean? All New York teams. From Buffalo on down, you know what I'm saying? You know, you should be a New York fan. Giants, Jets, Knicks, Rangers, Yankees, Mets, you know what I'm saying? You know, Buffalo, you know what I mean? So on and so forth. So, yo, till, you know, my brother, my older brother said he's a fan of the Lakers. And not only that, he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So there are people from New York that are fans of other teams for other cities. Because, you know, I guess because the Lakers was popping when my brother was growing up in his day. You know what I mean? You know, my man, one of my, you know, dudes I used to be associated with, he was a Chicago's Bulls fan before Jordan, because I tested him, because I was like, yeah, man, my cousin Sweets, I used to think he was you're just a Michael Jordan fan, because some people be doing that, like they be fans of the players instead of a team, and I never really respected that. But I tested him. I said, so were you a fan of the Bulls before Michael Jordan? He was like, yeah. Started naming players, you know what I'm saying? Players from, you know, prior to Jordan got there. I mean, years before Jordan got there. And the reason why he said he was their fan, because he liked their colors. Me, I was born a Knicks fan. So, I'm born in the 70s. So, by the time the 80s came around, I'm in that era. I'm in the era pre-Michael Jordan. Like, I'm like, wow. This is how far I go back. The Bill Cartwrights. Not Bernard King. He was a little bit before me, but Orlando Blackman, Rory Sparrow, Luke Skywalker, Gerald Wilkins. Then you have the Pat Cummings, Kiki Vandeweghe. And then of course we get to the Patrick Ewings, the Xavier McDaniels, the Charles Oakleys, and Anthony Masons, John Starks, that whole crew. So you could imagine, you know what I mean? we was hype, you know what I mean? And I hated Michael Jordan. Like, I hated him. I didn't like him on the court or off the court, especially off the court. But I hated Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? I did not like him, but I had to respect him because he was that good. And why? Because he used to tear my Knicks up. So, but the Knicks, back to the bad boy Pistons, the Knicks out bad boy the bad boys. They bullied the bad boys. That's how tough and rough the Knicks were. You know what I mean? And they had enforcers, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason. They didn't play. So I'm just giving y'all a history about how far back I go. So now, come to the point where when that season that Jordan took off and we had a chance to win against the Bulls to go to the finals or whatever, with Michael Jordan out and Scottie Pippen was just there. I think that's the game that Ewing did that little finger roll. Oh man, I was just so upset, right? But I still hung on there a little bit. After that, fading out from Ewing, then we start seeing the Latrell Sprewells, the Allen Houstons, and players like that. But prior to that, what got me out of there, after the whole Mark Jackson, even Mark Jackson, I keep forgetting the older dude's name. But anyway, I forget his name, but when Charles Smith had kept going up and down and missing he right under the basket and all that. Yo, let me tell you something, man. I was so disappointed with the Knicks. I stopped watching basketball, period. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm done. I ain't got time for that. You know what I mean? The Knicks will take you up on an emotional roller coaster. And I was just like, man, I'm done with that. So I just pretty much left basketball alone. I peeked in there, like I'm saying, with the Latrell Sprewells and the Allen Houstons. But the, you know what I mean? By the time Carmelo came around, even then, I still was like, no. You know what I mean? And then Nate Robinson, I still was like, no. You know what I mean? Grandma, like, I still was like, I'll peek in, you know what I mean? But I wasn't really on board like that. And then, one of the dudes I used to hang with, he used to throw Jeremy Lin at me. I'm kind of glad we ain't really talk that much, because he'll be throwing Jeremy Lin at me, like saying he's the best Knick ever because he did that Linsanity and Linsation and all that. And that used to irk me. That used to bother the heck out of me. No disrespect to Jeremy Lin, because he's nice, but I'm just saying, like, come on, man. So now here we got the era of Jalen Brunson. So they're doing good or whatever. I'm rocking with them. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. We doing something. But I still have PTSD. So, even last year, we could see the emergence of Jalen Brunson, and, we finally got a team that could potentially make it, at least take us beyond the second round into the Eastern Conference Finals, and possibly win the championship, maybe. You know what I mean? So, I'm cool. You know what I mean? I'm back watching them. I'm back active now, you know what I mean? I'm young, active, and back attracted to the game. You know what I'm saying? Go New York, go. But not so much as my fellow younger Knicks fans, and some of you old cats too, to where they're so delusional. Look, there ain't no fan like a New York Knicks fan, bro. Y'all saw that this year. There is no fan like a New York fan, period. Like, we're straight up crazy. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with us, man. We don't play. We don't give up. We got a New York grit. Um, you know what I'm saying? We're basically out of our minds. We're straight up delusional. And every time, we used to talk, I used to talk to some of my fellow Knicks fans. They'd be like, oh, this is the year. This is the year. This is the year. We're going to take it all. And I'll be like, slow down. Slow down. Because something's always going wrong. Something's always going wrong. I'm just too familiar with the Knicks. And I watch It Is What It Is with Cam and Mace on a daily basis. And they suffer the same thing, though they're fans of other teams. You know what I mean? Cam is fan of the Spurs. Mace, I don't know what fan Mace is. Mace all over. He title town. He going wherever to win. I don't know where he at, but anyway, wherever he at. But then, needless to say, they ain't like they don't want New York to win. They just know what time it is. It's like no matter what. I was like, dang, man, I told my brother the other day, I said, man, and I've been thinking this for a while. I said, man, God ain't with New York, man. New York must have did something very bad to God, because he ain't blessing the Knicks like that. You know what I mean? And my brother said this. I laugh, but it ain't funny, man. It's funny, but it ain't funny. You know what? He called New York Gotham City. Why did he do that, man? I laughed, but it made so much sense. If you ever watched Gotham, the series or whatever, and you just think of it, Bruce Wayne, Batman, and the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler, it's an evil, wicked city, bro. It's a dark city. It's always dark. Always look like it's raining. And, a lot of weird things go on in New York. So, you know what I mean? So when he said that, I was like, dang. So, man, listen, man. I'm a lot better than I was last night when they lost, because it's the same thing. You just know something's going to go wrong. Brunson dribbling the air out of the ball. Karl Anthony Towns doing stupid, ridiculous fouls. When the game is on the line, they do this. The Reggie, and they playing Indiana. Halliburton did this. I told y'all in my last Knicks video that the Reggie Miller was in the building. I always know something's gonna go wrong. Here's the critique: Tibbs. I mean, God, dog. Like he runs his starters into the ground, but at the same time, who is he gonna put in? Not only that, we had Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is actually on the Pacers that beat us last night. Like, it's crazy. We had Porzingis. Porzingis is on the Celtics, though we beat them. You know what I'm saying? And it's always we got to come back down 20 and all of that. I'm tired of that, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you like this, man. Life is too short to be a Knicks fan. And I'm going to tell y'all, like, I hate to say what I'm about to say, man. And I don't want to sound like, I ain't no fair weather fan. I already know I am not. I'm not no fair weather fan or whatever. But still, like, but at times, I'll leave you alone. Like, if I sense something ridiculous going on, or, like, quick example, when people would probably call me a conspiracy theorist, because I be thinking games be rigged, and I'm transitioning over to football now. Like with Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. In other words, I don't look at him like that. I look at him like they're a great white hope, and it's a lot of games that was rigged for him to win as many championships as he did. Now, that's saying that he's not good or nothing like that, but still. And that one in Atlanta, when Atlanta was up, I was giving them play-by-play, telling my men what was going to happen, because they're rigging the game, because they want that narrative to be that he's the GOAT or whatever. I said, if they do this, and if the Patriots come back and beat Atlanta, I'm done with football. There's no need to watch it no more. You know it's rigged. What did they do? They came back and they won just like I predicted. I ain't watched football since. Now I might peek in, like it's watching and peeking in, two different things. You know what I'm saying? I ain't been back since. It's been a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't messing with football. You know what I mean? With that being said, if the Knicks don't get Giannis or KD or something like that and make some very significant changes, but mainly that, preferably Giannis. Y'all don't do that, I'm gone. Life is too short to be a Knicks fan, man. Ain't nobody, y'all not gonna keep stressing me out every single year. You're not gonna do it this time, man. I'm sorry. I might just leave basketball alone because I don't know what other team I'm gonna rock with because I'm gonna feel weird anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna feel weird anyway, and I don't feel no other team. Period. I just don't. You know what I mean? But if they don't do this, man, I'm gone, bro. Y'all can look, y'all younger ones, y'all can have that. Y'all crazy anyway, hitting people with garbage cans. New York is crazy. They name certain streets out of the numbers, out of the jersey numbers, out of the players that we got now. Look, man, I don't care what you need to do. You need to get Giannis or KD. If you need to do it, we need an actual superstar finally, not a emerging superstar like Jalen Brunson, because he's not really a superstar yet. He's having superstar potential and superstar and legendary games, but he's not really a superstar yet. That takes a while, you know what I mean? But KD is. Giannis definitely is. Both of them definitely are. But if we ain't doing stuff like that, man, and we don't make no moves like that upstairs, bro, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't even watch their games because they go up, down, they go up, down, up, down, down. Man, ain't no. I'm too old. I ain't got time for that, man. There's much more important things going on in sports. Like for instance, oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Let me show y'all this. This is what I'm talking about.
Josh Hart with the miss. Halliburton pushing on the brink, going coast to coast, gets it in for the slam. Halliburton and the Pacers in full control. Pacers outscore the Knicks 34-23 in the third quarter, and the Pacers take down the Knicks 125-108.
SoundCloud shows the
120 what? 125.
It's a serious business card.
Hold on.
Unlimited 2% cash back on every
125 to 108. That was sickening, man. Knicks in 6, right? I never said it. Watch this.
And Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr. join us now. And look, guys, you could point to a lot of things that went wrong for the Knicks last night. Transition defense, turnovers were obviously a problem, as Amina just pointed out. But Q, I'll start with you. What do you think, in your eyes, went wrong for New York last night?
Yeah, for me, it was definitely the turnovers. The turnovers ignited the transition game. They got, like you said, 17 turnovers with 30-plus points off of that. And not only did it ignite the transition game off turnovers and off rebounds, they began throwing the ball out on New York Knicks scores. That's how it amped up. They got guys started leaking out, trying to get in transition because they were doing it so well. But the turnovers began to unravel the whole thing. But also, the fouls by Cat Anthony Towns reared his ugly head again. He had a lot of senseless fouls that made no sense, and he found himself in foul trouble again last night.
Look, for me, it was the defense, and this is why the Knicks are it's like a toxic relationship to be a fan of the Knicks. They start the series off and you want to give up on them. Then they come in Game 5 and they play better defense, and they say, please, baby, please give me one more chance. And they show up in Game 6, and they revert back to their old ways just when you start to believe in them with bad defense. Karl Anthony Towns was, again, vulnerable on those switches. Halliburton in that fourth quarter was able to get those floaters off because Karl Anthony Towns was not aggressive enough pulling up on him defensively. And then Mikal Bridges, inexplicably, in that game, was 12, offensive players were 12 for 15 when he was the closest defender. That defense, there is no excuse for that. There is no excuse for the way they could not pick up on transition. It was just bad defense that looked like the games they had in game 1 and 2 in that series, rearing their ugly head in game 6.
What about the
Look, first of all, the Knicks were up in game 1. I already went over this, how they blew game 1. I heard they blew game 2. Game 3, they lost straight up. We should have won. We should have won like we always should have won. It's always coulda, woulda, shoulda with the Knicks. And quite frankly, I'm tired. Hold on. Let me let this finish out.
fact that there's no bench, there's no reserve for New York. Like, they're just exhausted. And I know that's Tibbs' kind of way, but when you don't have anyone else to go to, like, you have Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench dropping 20. Like, it's just like, what are you supposed to do in that situation?
Well, I mean, they're running out of guys. They're running out of guys partially because the Pacers were able to get up there and get in pace and move fast, and the Knicks guys were getting tired and they don't have enough players on that roster to come in and give the guys that are starters some breathers.
Which is not necessarily Tibbs' fault. Okay, so New York doesn't reach their ultimate goal, right? Like, they're not going to the finals. They still have this drought in terms of a finals win. But what do they do now from here? Q, I'll go to you.
Yeah, I think Tibbs stays the coach. I don't think they do anything drastic like fire Tibbs. I mean, because to me it's like, if you're gonna fire Tibbs, who are you gonna bring in? If you don't have somebody, as good as Tibbs is, he's a great head coach, one of the best in the league. If you don't have somebody at his level or higher in mind, I don't know what you do there. I don't think you fire him. If I'm the Knicks, you go into the offseason, like he said in the press conference, you reevaluate everything and you see where you need to make improvements. I mean, everybody's talking about Giannis and the KDs. If you can go big, get big game hunting in that team, and then it makes sense, do it. But if not, you make minor tweaks here and there to try and improve the team, because at the end of the day, this team just made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and was a game away from a Game 7.
All right, I'm gonna just finish. I'm done with that. I totally agree with Q said, and that's why I premised this. Look, if you don't do that, go get Giannis or KD. Me personally, I gotta go. And on that note, I gotta go on this video. Y'all, if you like yourself, hit the like button. If you like somebody else, hit the share button. Like, comment, subscribe. If you love yourself, hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification button so the videos get straight to you. You know what I mean? Y'all have a blast past wild now and a greater later. Live the life you design so your life will be. You can have a good time for the rest of your lifetime. Live the life of his design so your life will be divine for the rest of your lifetime. This is Guess Who the Rapper, a.k.a. the Grand Ambassador of Flash Dynasty. You're lacing your brain with some of this incredible, Nick glorious game once again, man. As your host, acting the capacity of the reluctant YouTuber, y'all have a blessed evening. Peace.